Hey everybody, another interview. I know you guys love them. Today we have an awesome band that I'm really into right now called Silverclub. We do have the front man, Duncan Edward Jones, on with us. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good.
Right on. Thanks for being on. I'm really stoked about this because you sent me your album. I enjoy it a lot, so I've been really looking forward to this. Let's just get right into it. You are from where? Right
Manchester.
on. And your internet
Yeah,
isn't so great, right?
yeah, man. It's terrible. I'm kind of on a shared route here. It's like,
It
yeah.
seems to be working really good. We were supposed to connect yesterday. We had issues. I had issues of my own. What did you do it yesterday because you couldn't do it?
Oh man, I ended up drinking brandy with one of my friends, and then it was this morning, and for some reason we were watching what the hell were we watching? Royal Rumble 1990. I mean, I'm not even like mad into wrestling or nothing, but it's just like it was a nostalgia thing. I think,
Right,
you know.
right. I did a bit of drinking as
I
well.
don't know. I used to watch that. Huh?
I did a bit of drinking myself.
Yeah, I did too much. I think
I,
it's still. I'm still hurting, man. I'm still hurting.
I like your style. Let's get into it. Your band Silver Club has an album out, self-titled album. Is this the first album as Silver Club?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I kind of made sort of house and techno stuff for years as DNCN, and yeah, I never really sang a note until about 4 years ago, and one of my friends kind of hassled me to try and do some songs. So that's what I've done.
Right on.
I tried to do some songs,
Right on.
so I could produce anyway. I had that, so it was just a case of working out how to do it. I just threw it together, and hopefully it works.
I like it a lot. People are saying using names like Bowie and Beck and Talking Heads when they're talking about you. What is that like?
That's good. I really like. Obviously, I mean, you got to be crazy not to, at least respect those guys. But I really love all those acts. So, it's nice when people, because especially from coming from Manchester, a lot of the time, as soon as you've got like a guitar and a synthesizer on the same song, everyone's just like, right, you compare to New Order. They're always, and it's like New Order, or if you're kind of like, a guitar band with a bit of melancholy, then your Joy Division, or if we've got a couple of tracks where the beats are a little loose and they're just like, right, you're the Happy Mondays, and it's like, you know, I like all those bands, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, it's like, it's not really where I come from. I'm too young for kind of their heyday. It kind of passed me by. And, it's just not, they're not the records I was hammering growing up. And I say I'm too young for that, but I'm a Bowie fan and a Zeppelin fan and Stones and whatever. But you know what I mean, man? I wasn't there when it was like, when that was the big thing. But you're just tied to it. If you're from Manchester, you're from Manchester. And I love the place, but we ain't new. We ain't New Order.
Right. Yeah, you are not. That's for sure. Um, you mentioned a few bands, Rolling Stones, the ones that you listened to. What bands influenced you in making music? I know you said you started with a whole techno vibe. What influenced that, and how does that play into what you're doing now?
Just more sort of in production tricks and stuff, and like I like stuff to be sort of, I kind of a lot of the time I'll write from the groove up and then sort of layer on top that way, and um, yeah, it's one of them. It's just kind of a mash of everything. Another thing I wanted to do was I get really bored if like you'll hear a band and then you'll hear like their single and you're like, oh, this is cool, I'll check these guys out, and then the whole album sounds like that one tune but maybe not as good, and I wanted to kind of see how much I could switch it around stylistically and still sound like the same band, but at the same time, I didn't want to compromise on, it's still got to be a good tune to my mind. I'm not just going to stick like a track on there just because it's in a certain style. You know, I don't know. I wanted it to be all over the place, but still cohesive. I have no idea if I pulled it off, man. No idea. That's not for me to decide, you know.
Right. I think you did. I think you did. What are other people saying?
Well, we've not had any negative reaction. You know, everyone's been really positive. It's kind of been like a weird slow burn, but the longer it got, because we didn't have like a massive, like crazy, like all singing, all dancing press campaign kick off with when the record came out. So it's really nice to see it, you know, hitting this curve organically where when people are discovering it, they're really like buying into it wholesale, you know, like Mike Joyce, who used to drum for the Smiths, got onto us. Like, you know, he came across it and got into it in a big way, and we did a session, like a live session for him, and he's, you know, shouting it from the rooftops. And there's, you know, guys like Don Letts, who, you know, is a bit of a legend as well. And, you know, the more it goes on, it seems, the more it's just creeping in, and it's, you know, it's nice that people sort of feel involved with it, you know. I didn't expect that, so
it does.
That's something.
It is good. What you said, you started with the techno vibe kind of feel that you were doing, producing stuff. What are people that were fans of yours of that act? Are they tripping that you're doing this now? Because it is different.
Yeah, it was weird, man. It was weird because, you know, I went a hell of a long way around to do this, because I was in bands as a teenager, and, you know, was like jamming with friends on, like, you know, swapping instruments on analog synths and bass and guitar and stuff. And then kind of all my friends sort of that I jammed with anyway sort of disappeared off to university or whatever, and I kind of fell into making electronic music at that point, just because there was no one around that I wanted, you know, that there was other musicians around, but we had this kind of cosmic way of doing things where, you know, a lot of the other people, all the other people that kind of around that might have wanted to jam, you know, they were like, right, we want a verse and then a chorus and then a middle eight, and what I didn't dig it. We just used to plug in and just, you know, get far out, you know. So I hit the techno stuff, and it's kind of, you know, that sort of house groove, just, you know, it was sort of in me. So, you know, I did okay off that. I had, you know, quite a few releases. A lot of people were, you know, still sort of complain that I'm not really doing that anymore. Right. But the funny thing was, because I used to frequent a load of forums and stuff with that stuff, and it was weird. Like the split second I released a tune that wasn't that, and it was like, you know, it was a pop song, you know, and to my mind, like, a great pop song is really hard to write, man. You know, it's like, so, and it was almost like they were shamed, you know, they were kind of like giving me all this grief, saying like, oh, you've sold out. And I'm like, the hell you mean selling out, man? You know, because I've made a couple of songs. Like, all I'm doing is exactly what I want, which is, to me, is the opposite of selling out. And let me tell you, man, like, the cost of running a band compared to like me just floating around with a laptop and dials and playing shows on my own, like, man, I ain't never been so broke as when I started a band. So like, where the hell's selling out come from? But that kind of like, there's a tune called No Application on the record, and the chorus of that is basically sort of, you know, me saying, I don't know, what time does this go out?
You can say whatever. You can say whatever. We're we're 12:30 in the morning. Say whatever.
Oh right, yeah. All right. Basically, this is the fuck you to those guys who were like on my back from the moment I did it, and it was like, you know, and it was one of them, because they were sort of hypocrites anyway. You know, there was a thread where there was all these guys saying like, oh, you can't use this software, that's a kid's toy, you know, like all talking about studio tools. And then the same dude in another thread is naming one of my friends as like the best, most cutting edge producer in house and techno at the moment. And I knew for a fact that the dude had made his entire last 2 EPs on this piece of software that this same dude was saying was a kid's toy. So it's just like, man, these guys ain't know what they're on about. I just said, like, look, if you can't get some beats rocking with an old cassette 4-track and a bunch of junk, then doesn't matter if you've got like a killer studio. It's not going to make any fucking difference. You know?
Right, I know. It's been one of the things that I've done with this show. Like, I use one computer to produce my whole show, and you know, there's a lot of people that do this stuff that have all the cool mics and all that kind of shit. I'm literally sitting right now in front of a green piece of fabric, and I'm using the microphone on my laptop. I'm not trying to do anything like high definition. I'm just trying to put out good stuff, and in the end, it comes down to what you put out, not how you're doing it, and fuck those people.
That's it, man. It's you got to have some content,
right.
You know. Like, if you got that, then that's the main thing, you know. It's not like, you know, there's no point in like polishing a track to the nth degree, or like, you know, writing 6 pages of like conversation about how to best EQ your hi-hats when your tune sucks.
Right.
You know, it don't matter how. You know, it's like, how good can a hi-hat sound? Yeah. It's a fucking hi-hat. You know, just...
I love it.
Just get on with it, man. You know, and it's... When they're taking it to that level, you know, I like it to sort of go or flow organically. Like, sometimes I'll have an idea of a fully formed track in my head, and I'll get on my setup, and I'll start trying to lay it down, and like the instant that you try to stick rigidly to that first idea, you may as well forget about it. You know, you just got to I'll lay down the kick pattern, and then suddenly I'm just like, you know what, fuck this, I'm going this direction with it, and then next layer adds, and I'm like, well, you know, maybe I'm going over here with it now. So there's kind of elements of all sorts of stuff in every track, you know. I just let it take me where it's going, you know.
You get the sense of it listening to your album, because every track, you know, you hear what you're trying to do on every track, but every track is different. There's different vibes. Like, you know, there was a couple of tracks where there's a track on here called Fine Point, and I Know It. 2 tracks.
Fine.
Right?
Fine Print.
Fine Print.
Yeah.
That's right. Fine Print.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm like, oh well, I hear Prince. I hear all this stuff that's like different than other ones. You know, and then like No Application goes a whole nother direction, but it's still the same vibe. You know, like the album doesn't seem like there's, you know, 10 tracks or whatever amount of tracks there are in here of different stuff. It's all one vibe. There's a whole lot of stuff going on. I love it. It was actually hard. It was hard. It was hard to pick the song that I liked the most. With that said, me and my intern Mark, we played this game called Who's Cooler with bands that we have on, where we pick a track that we like, and we tell you which one it is, and you tell us who's cooler by the track we picked. You down to play this game?
Right.
Okay.
Right. I can humor you.
Okay. I appreciate it, bro. Mark picked Your Headphones. That was his favorite track on the album. Now, I said I brought up Fine Print, and the other track, I Knew It. And those are the 2 tracks that I had to deal with. Like, I was torn between the 2. I'm going to go with I Knew It as my favorite track on the album. Who's cooler, me or Mark the intern?
Do you know what? I can't even decide between them.
So
you know, the thing with I Knew It is like that's one that we have played it live, but it's seriously hard to pull off, because it's like, to hit that falsetto, man. Yeah. I mean, I don't even own jeans that tight anymore that can help me hit them high notes. You know, so like, it's a struggle, man. It's one of that, and I figured, like, if we're gonna do stuff live, you got to do it 100% or not at all. So if it isn't quite doing it justice, then we don't do it. But yeah, I know I'm really fond of that track, because it's just like, you know, it's like some white boy from the north of England trying to be Prince.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I could hear listening to that song, I could envision Prince singing it. Like you could have wrote that song for Prince, or Prince would have done something with it. Like I could see him covering it or something, you know.
And he's more than welcome.
Yeah, I loved it. I was like, oh, Prince is all the way. So what are you saying? Ty, or are you saying Marcus Cooler? It's cool if he's cooler.
I'm saying it's Ty.
Ty?
I'm
Okay.
saying it's Ty. Yeah,
We'll mark.
got me there. You got me.
Good. We'll mark this down as a tie. You did mention playing live. Are you touring at all?
No, not really touring at the moment. We sort of we did our launch party, and then we're trying to put a few things together. We're hoping to get out to the States at some point reasonably soon. I mean, I've just been heavy writing the next record as well. You know, it's not a million miles off done. And as much as I love this record, I think the next one's going to be like way better. But then, if I didn't think that, then I shouldn't be making it. So, if you're not going to try and best yourself at least, then, why bother?
Exactly.
So, yeah, dude, I mean, we've got a show in October, a place called the Deaf Institute in Manchester. That's a really cool venue. That's with a guy called Jim Noir. It's for Clash Music magazine. That should be good. I really like that venue, and it's, we're not one of these bands that will play like every 2 weeks in town, because for me it ceases to be special if you do it that often. It's nice. I prefer, it's like fewer and, if we do it like once every few months, then you can expect everyone to turn up, and maybe we've developed a few things differently.
Right.
It's better to sort of, do it all behind closed doors and then hit people with it when the new bits are ready. If you're playing those shows constantly, then I don't think you're really giving yourself a chance to work anything out or change anything, because you're just worried about keeping it tight for the next show.
Yeah, I love it. I used to I actually used to do a show 3 times a week, and I felt like I was oversaturating it, and I just went to one show a week to keep people wanting it versus people just knowing it's there all the time.
That's it, man. It's like you say, it's hard. It's tough as well. I don't even enjoy. There's no point in playing.
Hello.
Yeah, my fucking laptop died. I just had to run upstairs and borrow my friend's MacBook.
Right on.
I said to you before that this is like, there's no delusions of grandeur in this band, man.
That's funny, man, because I totally was like, fuck, man, the fucking internet gods have shit on us again. Nope, that's cool.
Yeah, it's just like basically like sort of I'm like talking to you, and then I was just like, and what the fuck's just happened here? Like it just shut its ass down. It just turned off. I was just like, right, yeah, because I said to you before the fan was wailing, and then
this thing's
the
happening.
fan was making a lot of noise, but not doing a whole lot of cooling anything down from what it seems.
I love it because this stuff has happened before.
Half my studio is held together with duct tape anyway, so this is like.
Yeah, it's no big deal. This is par for the course for our show. It makes for good TV. Like the moment, I'm so gonna put the part where I'm like, "Hey, bro, can you hear me? Because everything's frozen." To, "Hey, my computer died," right into the show, man. Because
it's gotta be done.
Yeah,
man.
it's gotta be. So shall we just continue then where we were?
Yeah, let's keep on, man. Yeah.
So there's a few more things I'd like to ask you. There are some questions that I ask everybody I have on the show, because I think I get a good sense of what these people are about. First question is, are unicorns overrated? Overrated.
Are unicorns overrated? I don't know. I'd have to test one out, man. But, I'm not really a hater, so it's like. I can't say for sure.
Okay.
I guess they're okay, Okay. I haven't really formed a strong opinion on unicorns, unfortunately.
What is your favorite alcoholic beverage?
Oh, most of them. I don't know. I like a nice lager. You know, sort of. You know, what shall I say? You know, some sort. You know, something that's not made in England. Generally, like the Dutch are good at it.
Yeah.
The Germans are good at it. Yeah. Generally, like a German lager is like, you know, that's pretty much where it's at.
This is not one of those questions, but I was kind of recently in London, and while I was there, I became very fond of the cider. And what do you say about cider? Is it lame? Here in America, or at least here in Hawaii, yeah, I got into it. I drank a whole lot of it. Like
cider, yeah. Depends. Like, I don't really like. I mean, there's stuff like Strongbow, which, you know, is like the big sort of commercially available one that it's probably never seen an apple in its whole existence. But I don't know. They have like these Swedish ones, like the pear ciders and the, you know, strawberry and lime cider and stuff like that. They're nice, man. They're nice. That's just like sort of. That's just pop that gets you wasted.
Yeah, yeah, you that's know? What I liked about it. It's like sweet shit all day, man. It was like eating lollipops to get me fucked up. Liquid lollipops.
Yeah, like it's like, I mean, there's only so many of them. Like, yeah, I couldn't like. I don't reckon I could do a whole day session on, because you kind of feel a bit like, you know, there's that kind of insane sugar buzz going on after a certain point. You know. But,
have you ever been so drunk you fell down?
Oh man, loads of times, yeah. Like, it's way too many. Like, I mean, half the tracks are like sort of, you know, me busting out confessionals about fucking myself up anyway. So, you know, I'm a lot better behaved than I used to be. That's for sure. You know, I know now that, like, you know, when you've got a job to do, you got to do it, you know. So I don't get hammered on stage or nothing like that anymore. But, you know, I mean, there's like infamous shows from when I was doing the techno stuff of me, like, sort of, you know, passing out in sort of like Jesus on the cross pose after like 6 or 7 minutes into one of my sets. This was up in Glasgow, man. I'd just been partying wild for like 2 or 3 days, and then went up there, and, you know, they were looking after me pretty well. Like, let's put it that way. They're very hospitable people up there. But yeah, apparently the first 5 or 6 minutes of my live set was just like literally the same loop that wasn't changing at all. And then it was just kind of like timber. And the next thing I knew, it was like half an hour later, and I'm sat outside on the curb, like just in pieces. So yeah, you know, live and learn. Yeah. You know.
What is the weirdest thing about you?
The weirdest thing about me? I see sound, so there you go. It's called synesthesia, basically. Like, so I know a couple of people who sort of have it, but no one really gets it exactly the same. You know, like, I don't know. It's a hard thing to explain. Get your people to Google it or something, like, because I ain't going too deep into it. But
everybody Google that word.
Yeah, if you can spell it, man. You know what I mean? I'm diagnosed with the damn thing, and I still struggle to spell that one right. Yeah. So, cool. Yeah, that's the weird one. I kind of, you know, I keep that fairly quiet, because I just never wanted it to be like a leading press angle. It's just like, oh, check out the freaky dude with the hallucinations all the time. It's just like, yeah, right, nice one. But, you know, it can be handy. It can just be a massive miver as well sometimes, you know. It's kind of ebbs and flows. So, you know, if it's really on, it can be like pretty difficult to do anything. You know, I couldn't like sit in a crowded bar if it's really blasting, because all you've got is like background noise, which creates all this sort of, I can't describe it. What can you do?
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
So that's pretty fucking weird.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah. Lastly, what is your favorite curse word?
My favourite curse word? Yes. I don't know. I think if you just sort of like scroll back through this interview, you probably know. I don't know. I don't even swear that much anymore, really. But, you know, you would believe otherwise watching this.
Right on. What's next for you?
I'm gonna say that's broken up there. What did you say?
What do you guys have next coming up, like for Silverclub? What's next on your agenda?
Next on the agenda,
Yeah, what?
I reckon. Yeah, just like I say, I've been writing stuff for the next album, and I write pretty damn quick. So it's like if the tune doesn't sort of like fall out of me and is near completion in like a day or two, then it tends to never get finished. You know, I'll spend a long time, a lot longer than I used to, sort of tweaking the mix afterwards now. But in essence, like the bulk of it's out pretty quick. So I was at a point a few weeks back where I had maybe like 70 tracks written since the album came out. And I figured, you know, you're better to be picking 10 from 70 than 10 from 12, you know, and I'm being pretty brutal with myself as well in terms of like, you know, I just want the album to be really good. So it's picking them ones out and then really working on them, you know. It's funny, you don't want to polish them to the nth degree either, lose all the character, but it's finding that balance. So yeah, a lot of writing, and then now it's sort of like working out what it's going to be, you know, which ones are going to go on it. So I don't know. It ain't going to be, you know, we ain't going to be one of these bands that takes like 4 years between each album. Anyway, let's put it that way.
With 70 tracks already like sort of written, that's probably not. You're going to have a lot of stuff going on. Question. This is just right off the top of my head because I've never been in a band. I really get interested in what the process.
Just say, man, I can't hear you at all. It's just gone crazy now. Like the sound has just gone. Do you want to try it again?
Can you hear me right now? Okay.
Yeah, a little.
Let's just get. Where can people find you online?
Where can people find us online?
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Basically, if anyone wants to know more, then they just go to silverclubuk.com. And then that'll wing you over to like a splash page where the album streams and you can buy the album. You know, people still buy music. I don't know. That's it. That's the promo sleeve. Actually, the cover, the proper one, is crazy. It's really, the guy who did it's like some kind of genius. Did like well, you know, if anyone goes to the site, they'll see what I'm talking about. And yeah, we've got all like the usual, like there's a Facebook page, there's a MySpace page that we never go on. You know, it's one of them. You know, I go on the Facebook page. The MySpace is just gathering dust as far as I'm concerned. If people want to listen to stuff on that music player, then you know that's up to them. But you know, it exists, but you know, there's better ways of getting to listen to our stuff.
Just go right to your web page, and everybody will get everything they need. I'm sure, right?
Well, that's it, man. You know, we've got our own website, so you know, it's kind of like I'd feel slightly cruel just to kill the MySpace page off completely. You know, it's not done me any harm.
Right. It's some people are still using it, I think. Before I let you go, is there anything else you'd like to tell the world, or people of Hawaii, anything?
Oh man, it's gone crazy again. This connection, it's making you sound like C3PO or something. Not C3, R2D2.
Let's try this again. Is there anything else you'd like to tell the world before I let you go?
Anything else I'd like to tell the world? I don't know. No.
That's good stuff right there. That's TV gold, bro. That's TV gold.
I'm keeping those cards close to my chest, man.
Nice. Before I let you go, do you want to cut a little bumper like, hey, this is Silverclub. You're watching Beneath Everything with Ronnie Rucker?
Yeah, I'll do.
Feel free.
Hey, I'm Duncan from Silverclub. You're watching Beneath Everything with Ronnie Rucker.
Nice. That's perfect, bro.